Hi, thank you for joining me for another Basics of the Bible video. My name is Christopher Scott, and if you're new to these videos, I got a playlist link down there in the description where you can click on that, and a bunch of videos where I go book by book through the Bible, giving just some basics of what it's about to help you grow understanding the Bible and to grow in your relationship with God. So those are all there for you and free to watch. So let's talk about, in this video, the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers. I've given a broad introduction to the Pentateuch. You can see a link up there in the ID cards. And Moses was the author of the Pentateuch, and he wrote this book we call Numbers. And the one-word description for Numbers is counting that I give you. That's in the description. I have some notes for you there. So counting is what happens there. Counting is what the book of Numbers is about. It's called Numbers because of the amount of numbers in the book. In the Bible, we've seen God deliver his people out of Egypt in the book of Exodus. They've been told how to be obedient in Leviticus. Now they have a chance to fulfill God's promise for the land of Canaan. God had promised to Abraham that he would make them into a great nation and give them a land. They have not yet taken the land, and so the book of Numbers tells the story of how they approach the land, but they don't take it like God had promised. However, Israel fails to take the land. The nation has counted themselves and prepared to receive what God had promised to them, but they don't take the land, which is a sad story to read. A key verse of the book of Numbers is chapter 32, verse 13. It says, "So the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until the entire generation of those who had done evil in the sight of the Lord was destroyed." So you're probably familiar with the story in Numbers that God has promised them this land. Moses takes them to the edge of the land. He sends 12 spies to go and check out the land and take a look at it. Those 12 spies come back, and 10 of them are fearful and afraid and say that we can't take the land. There's giants there and all this stuff. And then Caleb and Joshua say, no, God has promised it to us. We should take it. But ultimately, the nation of Israel doesn't believe what God has promised for them, and they don't take the land. And so God says, you're going to wander in the desert for 40 years so that this generation of people that didn't take what I had given and promised to them, they will die off, and the next generation gets to enter the land, and that includes Moses. I also want to talk to you about the name of the book, Numbers. Okay, the Hebrew title for the book of Numbers is Bimidbar. Bimidbar. It's taken from the first verse and the first word. That's the Hebrew custom for the Pentateuch, is they named each book of the Pentateuch according to the first word in the first verse. And here it's Bamidbar. Bamidbar, if I said it pronounced. I took 3 semesters of Hebrew, so I know what I'm saying. It's just a little tough to enunciate it when you're an English speaker. Bamidbar, taken from the first verse, means in the wilderness of. Midbar is wilderness, midbar, and then that ba at the beginning is a preposition. Bet, in, with, by, at, among. So in the wilderness, Bimidbar. And there's an article there too. Okay? And it's titled that because most of the book records Israel and their 40 years in the desert. Okay? So Bimidbar, in the wilderness. But as English speakers in our evangelical Protestant Bibles, it's called Numbers because we follow the Greek translation of the Old Testament and the titles that they had, which is a little interesting, but that's okay. So the Old Testament was originally written in Hebrew, but some of the oldest manuscripts that we have are Greek translations of Hebrew manuscripts that we don't have anymore, if that makes sense. And so our English Bibles follows the Septuagint, which is those English translations of the Hebrew. Okay? So the Bible you read in NIV or NLT, that's a translation from the Hebrew, but they use the book titles from the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation. Okay, so the Greek title is Arithmos. Arithmos sounds like arithmetic, which means, number and counting. Okay, so that's what we get our book Numbers from. I really like this description of the book of Numbers and what it's about from the Unger's Bible Dictionary. I'll put a link down there in the description if you wanted to purchase that on Amazon. It is an affiliate link, so I get a small commission, but I just want to be open and honest with you. It's a great resource for your Bible study, and as I was doing some preparation for this video, I found his description really fitting and helping to understand what Numbers is about. So in the Unger's Bible Dictionary, he says, as Genesis is the book of origins, Exodus is the book of redemption, and Leviticus the book of worship and fellowship, Numbers is the book of service and walk of God's redeemed people. Okay, I just really liked that. And a good outline for Numbers that I like is by Ken Hanna, his book From Moses to Malachi. He says the first 10 chapters talk about the nation of Israel is at Sinai. So it kind of picks up where Exodus left off. They're at Sinai at the end of the book of Exodus. And then Numbers picks up right there. So the end of Exodus and Numbers kind of go right together. And then chapters 11 through 21 talk about in the desert. They are wandering in the desert. And then chapters 22 to 36, they are at Moab preparing to enter the promised land. So they're preparing, to march, they're wandering, and then they're preparing to enter is how he outlines it. So that's the book of Numbers. I know it's a little simple, a little basic. The dates the book was written, I should mention that, was between 1446 and 1406. 1446 BC is when the Israelites left Egypt, 1446, and then 1406 is when they finally enter the promised land, 1406 BC. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. I know it's pretty basic, but Numbers is kind of a basic book. It's pretty straightforward. My name's Christopher Scott. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to get updates on future videos, you're welcome to subscribe to this channel here on YouTube, or I have a link in the first comment down there where you can sign up for my monthly email newsletter, where I promise I send you one email a month with links to the newest articles that I've had published, as well as the newest videos that I put out here on YouTube. So you're welcome to subscribe there if you want to as well. Thanks again for watching. Hope to catch you again soon for another Basics of the Bible video.